Hello, everybody. Max here with A1 Website Pro, and today we're going to be talking about installing the latest version of Linux Mint. Okay, now before you start this process of installing the latest version of Linux Mint, remember there are a couple different ways to do it. You can completely overwrite your current operating system, whether it be Windows or a Mac or another Linux distro, or you could run Linux alongside your current operating system. Like, for instance, I am running Windows. I'm going to install Linux Mint alongside Windows. Now, so the important thing is for you to back up your current computer. And I made some really easy instructions on how to back up your Windows 10. Basically, this tutorial will help you with Windows, Mac, or Linux to back up your files. Okay. So one of the things that you can do is, and I'm going to show you how to do the whole thing. You need to create a bootable flash drive to install Linux Mint. But you can actually buy this flash drive like on eBay. And I'll have a link in the post in the description of this video, but there's a link on my website where you could go. You could get them from anywhere 10 to 50 bucks to a Linux Mint bootable flash drive that's already on the flash drive. And that would save you this first part of, downloading the Linux Mint, downloading Etcher, checking the integrity and authenticity of the download. Okay, that would get you by all that. And then all you would have to do is make space on your current system, as I'm going to show you how to do, to install it alongside it, or just overwrite it with the Linux Mint system. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Now, one of the things, if you're installing Linux Mint on a Macintosh, you want to go up and click the Apple icon and click About This Mac, and then take a look at the processor heading. If you don't see Intel somewhere in the processor information, you cannot install Linux Mint. Okay. All right, so the first things first, what you want to do is go download the Linux Mint. And let me show you the website for that. This is what the website looks like. And the latest version is 20.3, which is UNA. And whenever you come on to this particular website, there's 3 different editions. There's the Cinnamon, there's the Mate, and then the XFCE edition. We're going to do the Cinnamon edition because we're using it for desktop. We're not going to use it as a server. Okay, the other versions, Mate and XFCE, they could be used, as a desktop as well. But this is more lightweight. The Mate edition is, uses fewer resources. Supposedly more stable than Cinnamon, but Cinnamon has all the bells and whistles, and so that's what we are going to use. So, for time's sake, I've already downloaded this. But when you click the download, it's going to take you to this website right here. Well, this web page, actually, same website. And you can see that the size of the download is 2.1 gigabytes, so it's a pretty substantial download. You also have an installation guide, release announcement, release notes. But the torrent download, notice it's 64-bit. Now, that's because it's already reading my computer system. It already recognizes through the browser that I'm on a 64-bit system. Okay, so if you have a 32, that should automatically read 32. Now, this is the integrity and authenticity check. What you want to do here is you right-click and click Save Link As. Now, I've already saved this in my downloads, but you'll click Save Link As, and then you'll save it into your downloads. I've actually created a new folder called ISO right here, and I saved this particular file in here the other day. So, and then you want to do the exact same thing with this one. Right-click, Save Link As, and then my folder ICO, I already have that in there, along with my image. Now, this download mirror, what that does is you'll click one of these right here whichever's closer to you. Like I'm in the United States, you know, so I would click probably one of these. And that's what I did. But what you'll do is you'll download the ISO. You can't actually download it from linuxmint.com. There's servers all over the world that you can download this from, okay? And whenever you download it, you need to make sure that it is authentic. Hence, that's why they do the integrity and authenticity check, okay? So that's what you'll want to do. And finally, you'll go down here, click the one that's closest to you. I'm going to click Clarkson University, and you'll notice my downloads have started. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that because I've already downloaded mine, but you'll go ahead and take the time and download your Linux Mint ISO file. And then whenever you get it all downloaded, I'm going to show you the downloads here. Go ahead and view a list instead of extra large icons. Because I'm looking for my ISO file. There it is. ISO. Here's my Linux Mint 20.2 Cinnamon 64-bit. Here's my SHA 256 sum and my SHA 256 sum.txt.gpg. Okay. So I have them in my downloads folder, and I labeled the folder ISO. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that there because we're going to be revisiting that. Now, one more thing that you want to download in order to create a bootable flash drive is this particular program right here. It's called Etcher, Blaine Etcher. And what this does is it will help you create that bootable flash drive. And we're going to be using this later. And right here, you want to select the appropriate download. Now, mine is, it automatically reads that I'm on a Windows machine. It's 64-bit, okay? And so you can also get it for Mac or Linux, 64 or 32-bit. So that's why I use this one, and it's nice and easy, and it works. It's cross-platform compatible. So if you're on a Mac, Windows, or Linux, this will work, and it works great. Okay. So that's what we have there. Okay, now I'm just going to put minus that down there. I'm going to go back to my downloads folder. And this ISO folder that I created to put those two text document downloads in my ISO file, I'm going to just drag this and move it to my desktop so I can mess with it here. Okay. And so there's my ISO folder. And the next thing that I want to do is download this GNU-PG. Okay. Now, the reason why I need to download this particular program is so I can do an integrity check and an authenticity check on my ISO file. So what you'll do is you'll come down here, you scroll past all this, and right here in the Windows operating system, download SIG, the simple installer for the current GNU-PG. This is what you need. All right. So you'll click that and download that and install it on your Windows system. Well, what is that going to do? Well, I'm going to show you what that's going to do. We're going to do the authenticity check. So you see I have this ISO file right here. Okay, I'm going to right click. I'm going to hold my shift button down. I'm sorry. I'm going to hold my shift button down on my keyboard, right click, and you'll notice I have here open with PowerShell. Now, you might have open command window here, but whenever I open that up, I will get something that looks like this. Now, notice my path, users, Macs, desktop, ISO. I'm in my ISO file. Now, these following commands I'm going to have in the in a link in the description below. Now, so you could actually just copy and paste. In fact, I'm copying and paste from the website right now. So here's the interesting thing. Whenever you're on a Windows machine, and that's why we had to download that PG program, because if you're on a Mac or if you're on Linux, you didn't have to download this. We need this for our particular process of authenticity check. So I'm going to right click. Notice how it it just puts it in there. Now, for argument's sake, this is the website that I'm copying it from, A1 Website Pro, How to Install Linux Mint, which is in the link below. And I grabbed this. Now, notice filename.iso. We're going to have to change that. And so let me make this a little bit viewer friendly. Now, here is the particular file name, Linux Mint 20.2 Cinnamon 64-bit. Now, in order for me to be quicker at this, I'm going to right-click, select Rename, and then I'm going to right-click and select Copy. Okay. And then up here where it has filename.iso, I'm going to use my arrow left key. And I'm going to take out filename.iso, and then I'm going to just right-click, and it automatically puts in my Linux Mint -20.2 Cinnamon 64-bit.iso. Okay, and then I'll scroll my cursor to the end, and I'm going to hit Enter, and let it do an authenticity check. And what we want to see is command completed successfully whenever it gets done. And that's what we get. Okay, so we now have our authenticity check done. The integrity check, I believe. The next thing that we want to do is the authenticity check. Now this one's a little bit trickier. What we're going to have to do is pull in a key, and then after we pull in the key, then we want to check it. And so I have a couple different authenticity checks for your Windows. You could try this one first, but I already know that this is the key that works. But if that one fails, you can go here. And if all three of these keys fail, you could go here for more instructions. But what I'm going to do, since I already know that this one works, I'm going to try this first one so I could show you one that fails. Let me right-click, select Copy, and I'm going to put that in there. Maybe I didn't get it all the way. Right click, copy. There we go. Then I'm going to hit Enter. Let me make it nice and big for you again. And let it do its thing. I'll pause the video for the sake of time. Oh, okay, there we go. Key server receive failed, certificate expired. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to grab the one that works. Come over here again. So that was the first one. I showed you how it failed. Let me grab the second one here. Right click, copy. We'll paste that in there. Now when we right click, it just automatically puts it in there. Okay, so there we go. Now we could see that this particular one brought in the Linux Mint ISO signing key. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do, let me bring the web page over here. After it's successful, we want to take this GPG verify sha256.txt.gpg. Well, where are we getting that from? Here, let me select copy. If we bring up the folder, the ISO folder, notice that's what we're getting. So if that doesn't read like that, then you're going to have to change it. So let me go ahead and put this in here. Oh, I have to recopy it. For some reason, it didn't copy in my clipboard. There we go. So that sha256sum.txt.gpg is what I'm comparing it to, as well as the 256 sum.txt that you can see right here. Okay, so now we're doing the integrity and then authenticity check right now. Okay, so we see right here, good signature from Linux Mint ISO, root at Linux Mint. And this is what you want to see. This warning, you can go ahead and ignore it, as well as this one, because we have a good signature. All right, and now we're done with the integrity check and the authenticity check. Now we are ready to bring up Etcher and make a disk, or make a bootable flash drive. But before we do that, we got to format the flash drive, okay? Because a lot of times these flash drives, they'll have stuff on them already, and then they'll have a bunch of junk on there as well. So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to show you right now how to take care of that. Now we're going to learn how to format the drive. Okay, over on the left here, you can see that I have a USB, and its drive letter is 0. This is the drive that I want to use to make a bootable flash drive. Now, if I right click and then select properties, the only space that I have is 3.84 megabytes. Okay, and I know that this is at least a 4 gig flash drive. So how do I deal with that? Well, if I go over here and I right click on the start menu and I select disk management, and I bring that up over here, and I'll let it go ahead and load up the disk stuff, the disk information. And after I see that it's loaded up, I see here's my C drive, and here I have the I believe it's 16 gig of this disk 1 that's just unallocated space, and I've got to clean that in order to put my Linux Mint drive on there. So what I'm about to show you, it's going to totally clear out this drive, so make sure you back it up. So let me go ahead and X out of here, we'll X out of there, and I know it's disk 1 that I need. So I'm going to right click, or I'm going to just click on my Windows search, and I'm going to type in disk, D-I-S-K, P-A-R-T, like so, and I'm going to click that and load it up. You'll get a thing asking if you're sure that you really want to run it. Now the next thing I'm going to type in is list disk, L-I-S-T-D-I-S-K. And this will give me my disk. And we can see here that disk 1 is the one that I want. It has the 14 gigabytes. This disk 0, 476 gigabytes, is obviously my hard drive. So in order for it to use the correct disk, I'm going to type in select disk 1. Now disk 1 is selected on the disk. Now all I have to do is type clean. Now it's going through, it's cleaning the disk, and you can see that here that it's been successful. Now the next thing I want to do is go back to disk management right here, and we'll go ahead and let that load up once again. And here I have disk 1. I have 14.45 of unallocated disk space that I can use to install my Linux Mint on. But what I want to do here is I want to right click, select new simple volume, and this brings up the wizard to format this particular disk. And I'm just going to keep clicking next. And whenever it comes to the drive letter, I'm just going to come back and I'm going to assign drive letter L for Linux Mint on there. And I'll select next. And TFS is a Windows system, so that's okay for me to use. Could also use FAT32, but let me go ahead and we'll go ahead and select FAT32. Allocation unit size, we're going to just leave that at default. The volume label, we could just type in Linux Mint if we like. And we could ask it to perform a quick format or detail. We'll just go ahead with a quick format and select next. Finally, it'll let us know what we've selected, and we'll click finish. And it is now formatting that particular flash drive so that we can put use the Etcher program and put Linux Mint to make it a bootable flash drive for our computer. So we'll just let it go through its little process of doing that. And we're done. So there we go. We have the NX Mint, drive letter L, and it's ready to go. Okay, now that we got our disk formatted and ready to go, we're ready to bring up our etcher program and make a flash drive, a bootable flash drive. So if you haven't done it also already, there's a link in the description to download this program. It's a Balena etcher. So I'm going to fire it up right now and walk you through on how this works. What we want to do is we want to select flash from a file, and you notice it's in, I put in desktop and then ISO, that's my folder. And then within this folder, I get my OS image of the Linux Mint 22. And I'm just going to click open, and you can see that loads up right here. Now you'll notice my USB flash drive is on that 15.5 gigabytes that we just formatted. If I wanted to use another one, it would show up in here, but I don't. I want to use the one that we just selected. And then all I have to do is hit flash, and then it gives me a little alert warning asking me if I allow this particular program to make changes on my machine. I selected yes, and it's starting, and it'll just go through the process. It will take several minutes, so just let it work through the process, and I'll see you whenever it's done. Okay, and when you get it all done, this is what you have, flash complete. And then you could stick in another flash drive and flash another and another, and sell them on eBay if you want for 10 to 50 bucks a piece. Okay, so let's go on to the next thing. So now, since I'm going to install, let me just close this out. Since I'm going to install Linux Mint alongside my Windows, what I want to do is go over here to my Windows icon, right click, click on Computer Management, and let it load up. Well, actually, I should have just went to Disk Management, but that's okay. I could get to there from here too. And we'll go ahead and let the Disk Management part load up. Okay, now we see that this is loaded up. And we see here disk 0, which is my Windows, and you can see the file system is NTFS. I want to make some room on here to install my Linux Mint alongside my Windows. So basically what I want to do is I want to right click, right here where it says shrink volume, I'm going to click shrink volume. It's going to query the volume to see how much it can shrink it by. And I'm looking to have like 30 gig is pretty much what I want to run my Linux Mint system. I store all my stuff on flash drive and external hard drive, so the only thing that I actually keep on my computers are the tools that I use, the programs and applications. So here we have the size of available shrink space is 32,480 megabytes, which is roughly 32.5 gig. I'm going to go here and shrink that down to 30,000, and I'm going to click shrink. Let that go through its process of shrinking it so I can install my Linux Mint alongside this particular Windows application operating system. Okay, now you see here I have 29.30 gigabytes of unallocated space. And I'm just going to leave it like that. And I'm going to restart my computer while I'm pushing the escape button and start the installation for my Linux Mint. Okay, here we are on my computer. There's my flash drive I have plugged in. And I'm going to come down here to my start menu to power, and I'm going to hit my power button. I'm going to select restart. Now as it's restarting, I'm going to keep hitting this escape key. Oh, let me go ahead and try that again. Power, restart, let it go. Now let it get to a certain point. I'm going to click restart anyway. So there's a notepad hanging it up. And whenever it starts turning black there, I'm going to start hitting my escape key. Okay, there it is. I'm going to hit my escape key over and over again. Okay, now here's where I get I'll hit my F9 for my boot device options. Okay, and here I want to boot from my flash drive, so it loads up my Linux Mint. I'm going to get that little notification. I'm going to just hit enter. And here it's going to ask me what I want to run. I want the top one, Linux Mint 20.02 Cinnamon. So then hit enter there. Let it go through its process of firing up. Now I have the Linux Mint icon coming up on the screen. Okay, now I see the Linux Mint desktop that's finally showed up. And what I can do here is I could come down here and connect to my, click cancel on that. I can connect to my internet if I use the right one. Okay, so something different with Linux Mint. You have to select the number lock on your keyboard in order to get your numbers to show. Otherwise, it'll do it doesn't automatically, you know, make it so you can have your number pad. So you'll see this little thing right here, install Linux Mint, and that's where I'm going to start from. And I'm going to get back on the computer and show you guys how to do this. Okay, now that we have our Linux Mint up and running, we're going to double click this install Linux Mint. And I'm going to walk you through this. The very first thing we want to pick is our language, of course, and English is going to be our language. Click continue. Next, we want the keyboard layout, and mine is English US. So I'm just going to click continue, or you can click detect keyboard layout. So click continue. Now you want to install multimedia codecs. These are third party. I always install these so I can run third party software. And then I'll go ahead and create a password for myself so that we can do that, and click continue. Okay. All right, now we want to go with install Linux Mint alongside Windows Boot Manager. I don't, even though I want to install it alongside it, I'm not going to be using their particular one because I want it to be on the disk partition that I created earlier. Now, if you want to completely erase Windows or Mac or your other version of Linux, you can use this option here, but I'm clicking something else because the partition that I created is where I want to install this. So I click something else and then click continue. And we could see here that I have these different installation types. What I need to find is the particular one that I have. Here, let me try to make this larger for myself if I can. I don't believe I can. Okay, so what we want to do is navigate to where we have our free space, okay, and click on this plus sign. We're going to do this 3 different times. In here, we want to make this size 512, okay. Underneath here, use as, we want EFI system partition. So let's find EFI system partition, and then just click OK. Okay, on this next section, you're going to have to find your free space once again. Notice it went down to 30,946. Click on the plus sign, and this time you want to give it like 8,000 megabytes, which would be 8 gigs of RAM. And then right down here, we want swap area. Use as swap area. And then just click OK there. Okay, once again, we want to find our free space. We see that it's went down to 22,947. This time we're going to click on the plus sign and we're going to leave that alone. We're going to leave it as is. And then over down here at use as ext for journaling filing system, that's what we want. But now here the mount point, we just want to mount it as root, and that's just this slash right here. And then we select OK. Okay, now after you get done doing all that, click on Install Now. And you want to click, make sure this verify all that this information is correct. So we did the partition number 5, ESP, partition number 6 is swap, and partition number 7 as extension for file system. And just click continue. And then New York, that's my time zone, so I'll click continue, Eastern Standard Time. We'll put my name and my computer's name, my username, and then we'll just go ahead and put in a password. And I'm just going to have a login automatically. Then I'm going to click continue. Now it's going and it's installing Linux Mint into that partition that we made.